Function First, creator of the Pain-Free Movement Specialist and inventor of the Cortex, bringing you another video on our program design. Last video we talked about the 80-20 principle, how we get 80% of our results for 20% of our input, and how we were able to take all that information and aggregate it into kind of a simple decision-making process on where we wanted to focus initially. Today I want to talk to you a little bit more about how we actually sequence the exercises, which is absolutely critical to this process of program design from our perspective with corrective exercise. We know that with the motor learning perspective, from a motor learning perspective, a big part of what we need to be able to do is introduce the body. We describe it as ask, don't tell, and we come at it through the different phases of the cognitive, associative, and autonomic learning, which is just part of the many motor learning theories that are out there. But most importantly, we know that the initial changes are going to come from neural input through the exercises, which is the stimulus, and then how the motor system responds to that. And that's how we see. We know we're not making any immediate long-term changes with the intervention, but we know that if the body responds through the appropriate exercise and the intervention immediately, and I mean immediately, then we know that we're on the right track with what we're doing. So when we design a corrective exercise program, we begin with sort of subroutines or building blocks. And we might start with the first couple of exercises that would be our level A exercises, which are our simplest, kind of baseline, high cognitive input, very little distractions, allow that person to be present. And we might start with exercise 1, 2, and 3 may form our first subroutine of exercises in which we're trying to maybe downregulate certain things. What we do not do, interestingly enough, is we don't talk about activate and integrate, and we don't talk about release or inhibit per se. Those might be part of the processes, but we find it much more beneficial and powerful for the end user, meaning you, to be able to think in terms of obliquity, frontal plane stability, lack of anterior motion in the hip, whatever it is, without getting too specific within the given muscles, because very often through the intelligence of the nervous system with the exercises and their design, we can create that same change without getting so specific that way. And this also helps us stay away from linear thinking, which is an if this, then that. We know the dynamic systems of the human body under the envelope of a psychological framework is very difficult to think linearly with. So we put these subroutines. This might be level A exercises. Then we might have a couple more exercises, number 3 and 4. Might be potentially our B and C exercises, and now we're starting to ascend that, and that's what we mean. So level A is the simplest exercises, all the way up to D are our most integrated, fully functional acceleration, deceleration, multiple planes going on. Then from there, after we kind of audited our process that we have happen what we wanted to have happen here, now we can go to this next higher level exercise. Has our mini objectives been achieved here? Then we go to our next level. So maybe exercise 5 and maybe even exercise 6 together form another subroutine. And then how do we zip it all up at the end? Then we're going to do it with a much more integrated exercises. And this is where we often speak about how no matter how much chronic pain this client's been in, what their limitations are, we're always going to ascend that program with a very specific functional outcome that we want to have. What do we want to see them do better at the end? And that's going to look, smell, feel, and taste like our level D exercise, and that varies. We might not get there with everybody all the time at the very first session, but we're absolutely going to ascend this program so that we can integrate those exercises, give them something that's tangible that helps them link together all the different things that we've done and expand that movement bubble for them. Thank you for listening. This is Anthony Carey with the Pain-Free Movement Specialist at Function First.